Well, hello, everybody. I'm Cece.
I'm Doc.
And this is CCnDoc Talk. And this is June. And June is Pride Month. And it's usually our habit to post a few very meaningful posts on Pride Month so that people get a bit of a perspective of what it's like to be LGBTQ in America. And I can't imagine a better time for us to do that in history than right now. Because there's some disturbing things happening, but recently there have been a couple of really disturbing stories, at least from our perspective, that have come through the news. And so, but before I get into that, I need to ask you a question. How many times when you've been dressed like you are today with your baseball hat and your t-shirt and shorts, I know, but how many times have you been mistaken for a sir or a man?
All my life.
Yeah.
I mean, even as a child, even when I had longer hair, I was a tomboy. I wore jeans and t-shirts through school, through high school, college. I mean, I was mistaken until I all of a sudden had to do like identity change to, wearing my short skirts and curly hair, but
corporate drag, makeup, full makeup.
Oh my gosh, it just felt so out of place, but I did it, But no, what I like is baseball caps, but does it matter which hat I have on? Sometimes they make you even look even more masculine, or my favorite little canvas frumpy hat, right? That keeps the sun off my eyes. But no, if I put yours on. We put these on. Now,
does it fem us up a little bit?
Now are we female?
Are we?
All we had to do was change the hat, and now we're female.
But here's the crazy thing about that. And so same for me. And most people would label me like the lipstick lesbian because I'm the girl that wears makeup every once in a while. But quite honestly, I don't want to have to wear makeup for you to know that I'm a woman, because let me just share some obvious facts with you. Just because I have a baseball cap without a ponytail, you should not make any assumptions, because if you look real closely, these are boobs, right? Boobs. Should be an obvious thing, but it's not. And while yours are smaller, still boobs.
And if you see us from the back, there's a bra line. So,
I shouldn't have to flash you in order for you to know that I am a woman.
I'm open to that if you'd like to do that. Really, I mean.
And quite frankly,
why don't men wear shirts and have to put tops on? I don't want to see the male boob. Anyway, okay.
Anyway, point being, here's the thing. Whether I'm a woman or man is actually none of your business. But recently, a couple of incidences have happened that have us incredibly concerned. And our friend, our internet friend, Erin in the Morning, Erin Reed, actually called this because Erin she's a trans journalist and she's a trans activist. And when her wife Zoe was fighting for transgender bathroom rights in the state of Montana, one of the Montana legislators actually made a comment grouping lesbians into that group of people who shouldn't be allowed in women's bathrooms, even though we are very clearly women. And Erin called it. She said that at some point they were going to start discriminating against lesbians going into women's bathrooms. And now it has happened. Very recently during the Kentucky Derby, there was a Kentucky Derby party in Boston, and a lesbian was forcibly removed from the bathroom by security. And for a while, the hotel backed that ignorance, right? And as she was doing it, people were calling out, there was a line in the bathroom, and women were calling out nasty names and saying all kinds of rotten things. She was a woman. Now, here's the thing. If she had flashed them to show them her boobs to let them know she was a woman, she probably also would have been arrested and then charged with indecent exposure.
Yeah.
So we can't really win
in
this scenario. Right? And recently in, I believe it was Illinois, there was a young woman beaten severely by a female lesbian
who looked a little butch.
She was a little butch, she looked a little masculine, and she was beaten to a pulp because somebody didn't like who she was and didn't like that she had been in the women's bathroom in McDonald's. Yeah. So this is an incredibly serious topic. And while we would love to keep things light during Pride Month, It's
Well,
kind of important.
I mean, there have been unisex bathrooms for years that we all use. I
Yeah.
don't know why the whole bathroom thing is so much of an issue these days.
Well, and in
If you
Europe,
get on
half
a
the
plane,
bathrooms, in Europe, half the
one-
bathrooms are unisex, and you're right.
unisex,
On a
airplane,
plane, people use the same freaking
same
bathroom.
you know?
Get the hell over it, people. I mean, stop
Exactly.
focusing on sex, gender, people's freaking genitals. Who gives a shit? Because statistically
What are you
speaking,
afraid of, right?
What are you afraid of? And they would say that they're afraid of trans women because they're a threat to real women, but because they're talking about pedophilia and all the things. But you just looked up the facts. Who is the classic pedophile? What's the profile of an average pedophile?
A male in their 30s, usually a family man.
Usually very religious.
Yep, very religious, and will deny any accusations, even if it's even if there's hard evidence. And yeah, they love to be around kids. So and doesn't that fit the profile of a lot of family men out there? I guess we should be afraid of all.
I guess all the family men are now banned from restrooms too.
Yes,
and
don't let them near kids at all, ever, right. Or have kids, right?
None of that. None of that.
Yeah, I mean, but no, none of that. I mean, yeah. So it is a kind of. I remember once there was a guy that was telling us a story that his wife had breast cancer. And she lost all her hair, and she had long hair before. Mm-hmm. And they were walking through a grocery store. She had a baseball cap on, and he had a cap on.
I remember this.
And all of a sudden, somebody just yelled out some very vulgar obscenities about being gay because they saw that.
Well, and she was a breast cancer survivor, so she'd had a mastectomy.
Oh yeah, she had a double mastectomy, yes. And so they got basically all of the accusations of being gay men. And he unleashed on this person that accused them, and he's like, first of all, you shouldn't be making assumptions about people, and it doesn't matter. And this is my wife. She's had breast cancer. So basically keep your mouth shut and keep your comments and assumptions to yourself. And I mean, I guess he went off on the person, and good for him that he had the quick wit to do that. But really what it comes down to is, what did it matter? What did it matter? And why are we
how is she harming you?
And why did it, yeah.
How is she harming you walking through the grocery store?
So here's this lovely person who's gone through something traumatic, and people with their opinions, unsolicited opinions, and their fears and their accusations that are willing to blurt things out that are not nice. You know what? To me, that's not the human love that should be going around.
Absolutely not. Certainly not the way of WWJD. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, there's no such love as good Christian hate these days,
right? There's a fabulous internet influencer, social media influencer. His name is Del Stone Jr. I think he was on Instagram the other day, and he said, throughout his life, he's had Mormons knock on his door, he's had Jehovah's Witnesses knock on his door, he's had political parties knock on his door,
to get them to convert.
All of them trying to get him to save his soul, to turn his heart, to turn his political views. He said not once in his entire existence has a gay person or a trans person knocked on his door to ask him to change his persuasion or his sex. And I would have to agree with that. We're not the ones going around telling everybody they need to be gay.
Right.
I mean, we don't give a shit if you're gay.
Or if you're not gay.
Or if you're not gay. But here's the thing. We have the right to be who we are and who God made us, regardless of your opinion. So you can have your opinion all day long, but the separation of church and state says it's none of your business what I do with my body and my life. And that goes for abortion rights too, while I'm at it. But
just tuck that one in there like a good big bill, didn't you? Okay.
So it's funny, I didn't really expect to get all worked up over this, but when we saw those stories, we were recently traveling, and when we saw those stories, because here's what happens. Like, I go into an airport bathroom, and oftentimes when I'm traveling, I'm wearing a baseball hat and I'm dressed very comfortably for a plane. I don't look feminine. I shouldn't have to put on freaking eyeliner and lipstick for you to know the difference between whether I'm a woman or a man, or even a trans woman.
You don't have the fear of being beaten or
every single time we walked into an airport bathroom, especially after we got back into the States and we were in Denver, I actually thought about that every time. And I actually looked at the people around me to see, were they looking at me funny? This is the life of an LGBTQ person in America right now.
Because of the hatred that's been unleashed.
So what's the point of all this? The point of all this is this. If you don't agree with these things that are happening, speak up. Start calling your representatives and letting them know that all of this anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ legislation is not okay.
Or friends that are making comments that are
Stop it.
obvious, discrimination towards them, you can put a stop to it.
You can speak up. You can speak up in social settings. You can speak up when you're in the bathroom. You can.
What harm are they doing to you? What does this mean to you? Why do you have so much hatred around this? And you know what would it be like to just love these people? Is it because you don't know any? Chances are you know them, but they won't come out near you because they're afraid of you. So it helps spread the word of love and get it to be less fearful or whatever, more accepting. But yeah, you can spread the word. You can actually go up against people directly, friends and family members alike, to be able to put this hatred to bed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It really is up to each and every individual person, because those of you on the right aren't seeing a lot of this information coming through your news channels. You just aren't. And when you do, it's generally very skewed in one direction or another. So if you are on that side of the fence and you know us, you can trust that what we're telling you is the truth, because we generally fact check everything before we share it.
Yeah. And I just feel bad. The trans, why are they the target right now? They have the most tortured life to start with, trying to figure out who they are. And now they're getting tortured from the external sources too.
And they want nothing but to be left alone and to have a good life.
Them some love. Just give them a hug. Let them be happy. Leave them alone.
And if you don't understand it, too bad. You don't have to understand it.
You don't have to understand it, but don't throw the hatred fire on it then.
Exactly.
So I may not like a certain brand of car, but it doesn't mean I'm going to go out and burn it.
That's exactly true, because that would not be right. So this Pride Month, what we're asking is for straight allies to speak up a little bit. Let people know that you're a safe space. Share your perspective with your friends and people that you hang out with who might make, offhanded, off-color comments about things that, haha, it's funny, but it's really not funny, because unfortunately the hate in this nation has been unleashed.
Yep.
And we need people like you to help us get past that, because we should not have to live in fear. I didn't fight freaking cancer for a year of my life to turn around
and live in fear because you're now
and LGBTQ. Live in fear because of my LGBTQ status, because I happen to love who I love. Because here's the thing, even if you take away my marriage rights, you're not going to take my love for Amy away. That's not going away. You can take it, but we're still going to be here, and we're still going to be queer. Just the way it is.
I think that's a good note to end on. Be happy, share the love.
Yes, please.
Share the love.
Have some pride in being a good person and help the people who need it most. For God's sake, people, use your powers for good this Pride.